progress of a widow. Listen, y'all, check in with me. I stopped by real fast today because I needed to make an awareness, serious awareness. I have been completely transparent as I can be with my process. However, I had encountered a very intriguing conversation with a divorcee. I ain't taking no shots. I ain't taking no shots. Hold on, slow down. I ain't taking no shots at divorcees. But I want to make something real aware. And based out of the conversation, the individual was saying to me, like, hey, you lost, I lost. I wouldn't think that you still at that place of process as you're going through your process. And I'm like, what does this mean? I was like, well, okay, let me conclude the conversation like this with y'all. Do not compete where you do not compare. I'll say it again. Do not compete where you do not compare. What do I mean by that? Girl, what you talking about? Let me explain myself, okay? First of all, if you're a divorcee, that's not the same as a widower, right? And that's a slash in my thoughts. Because here's the thing. If I go to any event that's for divorcees, I'm probably not going to go because I won't know how to have that kind of conversation. I won't know how to be in that arena of hurt because I wasn't divorced. I didn't get divorced. I didn't initiate a divorce, if that makes all the sense in the world. I wasn't even in the situation where I needed one. So again, I would not understand. I would not go into that arena, and I want to use the word arena, to try to compete. And when I say compete, I mean to try to validate whatever emotion I may have. Because over here in the grieving land of widowness, as a widow and a widower, it's not the same. It's not the same, love. However, we say like, yeah, we understand that it's not the same, but no, it's really not the same. There's no mediator for widows. And what I mean by that is when you get a divorce, 9 times out of 10, you need a lawyer, you need a judge. We ain't got all that over here. Ain't no lawyer and no judge. Like, maybe for the will part, but not for the separation to breaks to several ties. It's not the same. That you see where I'm going with that? It's not the same. If you got kids, it's not the same because your kids just have to be taught how to deal with both parents individually. Well, our kids have to learn how to deal with one parent altogether. It's just two different things. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that in divorces that it's not bad for kids and it's not traumatic. I'm not saying that. Again, it's its own arena. It's its own trauma. It's not the trauma of a widower. Okay? It's not me explaining to my kids, daddy's never coming home again. And if by all means, bless the Lord, if you're a faith-based person, if you believe in Jehovah Jireh, if you have the love of the Lord in your life, then teaching your kids certain things is a little easier. Okay, so let me say this as well. It's also two different things in the widow life. And I believe a lot of people don't know this. So I want to share this again for awareness and transparency. As a widower, there's two different kinds of widows/widowers. And a lot of people are going to be like, huh? There are. So listen, and this is how I reference it. I am what I like to believe is an instant widow. And what I mean by that is it wasn't planned, it wasn't discussed, it just happened like out the blue. Okay? Like we had plans, We had just had birthdays. We had just got a vacation, all kind of good stuff, planning for this, planning for that. And it was a motorcycle accident. So that's for me, that's the instant widowers. You know, you don't have no, it's not something that just happened. However, there are those processing widows. And what I mean by that is you have to grieve multiple times, right? And it's so heartbreaking because I could never have dealt with that. Like I could have never dealt with a blood transfusion. I could have never dealt with, my spouse lost a limb. So now we got to, those surgeries and all of those doctor's appointments and all of those medications, anything like that, especially once you're given an expiration date, that's when the grieving process starts. You start thinking, then I'm about to lose my better half. How do I make every moment count? That's not the same for instant widows and widowers because we don't get that extra time, if I can say it sensitively like that. And I think a lot of people misplace that understanding, right? Is that's in its own self. It's two different arenas. So whereas it may have been a long 12 months or however long the doctor said, and then it was extended, bless the Lord, that's still not the same as I don't ever get time to extend. You understand? It's two different processes. And I believe a lot of people miss those small factors and why you have to be transparent. You have to give your testimony. You have to encourage somebody because nobody knows just where you are in your process or progress, or even how to be aware of somebody else. Because no, we all may not go through a situation, but surely everybody got a cousin that they can say, "Ooh, listen, this for you." Everybody got somebody that it can help. So be mindful, be mindful that we're not all in the same arena. Do not compete where you don't compare. And it's not negative, it's just a simple awareness. I want you to simply be aware of that. Okay. And yes, I'm going to keep tracking my process so that y'all can see my progress because the devil is defeated and I will not be mentally drained with the process of grief. Rather, I be educated by it so that the transparency of it helps me continue to move on and help somebody else as they enter that journey. Okay, y'all.